go. I do believe we are live. So I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friend. Thank you for joining me again on today's Conscious Evolution. Today's stream topic is about how we see God every day, everywhere. Weirdly enough, it's this short video that I saw on Reddit of a teenager who, in the 60s, started taking LSD, and his mom had him committed to a mental hospital. And listening to this dude's way of seeing the world, I heard a lot of myself, right? To a concerning degree. And there was one thing that he said that really resonated with me as something that I want to talk about today on stream, where he was trying to explain to his mom the oneness he experienced through this, compound, and his willingness to kind of like pursue this side of the reality. And his conclusion that he came to is that God is everywhere, everything, every day, right? And that you can see it if you know what it is you're looking for, it or him or her. I believe her. I believe that's my personal fractal, that the part of God we see is the feminine part of God, right? And it's everywhere. And the part of God with which we see is the masculine part. And the fact that he was committed to a mental hospital by his mom in daring to say that we get to see God before we're dead was like so significant to me, right? That people will literally consider you insane, actual insane, if you claim to be able to see God before you die, which in my mind feels like a shame, right? I have to die before I get to have a relationship with my actual creator or whatever. That seems like a losing game. So I get to see you friends today, every single one of you. I see Shan and Joy Vive joining us, Brother Dan, blessings, Nancy too, Duck Dad, Natalie, and even Kristen. Blessings to all of you friends. Thank you for joining me. Let me see. Day 980. Time to be your own hero. Say the same things about yourself that you say about your heroes. Right? My personal quote. I really like that one. And I resonate with it as well, Natalie. Be your own hero. Not only be your own hero, but see yourself in the light of someone who can be a hero. Right? I don't think it's possible for us to save our small self, right? Like this fleshy self. I don't think it needs to be saved, right? I feel like that's where some people have, at least in my mind, it kind of like backwards. Oh, I see Jovan as well. Sorry, missed you for a sec there. Blessings. Sam is also here right now. Like, I don't think this version of us needs to be saved, right? That you come here as a human being to experience what it's like being a human being, right? And unfortunately, because of the relationship we have with life, we end up becoming attached to this human part of the self, right? This part of the self that needs to survive. And unfortunately, at this point at least, we find ourselves in a world where survival is our directive, right? You need to cope, essentially. You need to make enough money so you can pay rent at the end of the month. You need to make enough money so you're allowed to eat food, right? And I feel like that state of reality, in my mind at least, reframes the entire way we see the world, right? And I feel like from that perspective, it makes perfect sense to me that people can't see God in this world, right? But it's not the world that is the problem. It is the systems that we placed on top of the world. You can think of the world as an operating system, essentially, right? A base, a user interface, right? Us being the users and this being our interface. And we can code onto it pretty much any reality, right? Any way of being that we could imagine could technically be in this three-dimensional existence we find ourselves in. And unfortunately, we find ourselves in a time of history where the code doesn't seem to be working, right? And all of us can feel that. All of us know that there is some change coming. We don't know necessarily what that looks like, but it is definitely going to be a plethora of different things almost like colliding. Us figuring out, like we did technically figure out fusion, right? Like that time horizon is shortening. We have figured out quantum technology. We're building computers like that as well right now. The new LLMs, generative AI, that is obviously going to change things radically. Cryptocurrency, interestingly enough, right? Like a new financial system being built on a new world that we call the internet, right? And trying to think of all of these things as higher level principles, right? That if God is everywhere, God is in our computer systems and in our code and in our, world as well. And I think, I believe, in fact, if we can start to see that, it can lead us to a more, I want to say calm state of reality, right? Like I feel like there's very limited calm right now. Like for instance, both the doggos, Yudi and Pippi, are chewing on bones right now, right? And like today's stream topic is supposed to be seeing God in everything. So I'm seeing God and little Pippi literally chewing on the bones of another animal, and she's having a ball. She's having the time of her life. I have to listen to the gnashing of teeth, and bones crunching, but I can't stop her because from her divine perspective, that's what she wants in this moment, right? And I'm trying to think, trying to compare, if you will, what is our bone, right? I feel like the bone that humans wanted was this bone of money, this bone of financial accumulation of stuff, right? There's this line that I heard recently about how we were sent to school systems in order to learn how to buy more things, right? That is technically what you were taught. You weren't taught life skills. You weren't taught how to be a good person. You were taught how to do things that will allow you to get more things, right? And I feel like some of us at some point realize that that is not what it's about. You can only get so much things before you realize it doesn't make you any happier. I'm thinking about Dostoevsky. Fuck. You know who I'm talking about. Dostoevsky. Freaking Russian names are hard. Anyway, he has about how beauty will save the world. He will save the world, right? And he wasn't paraphrasing. I think he was being serious because in large part, money has allowed us some level of beauty as well, right? Maybe you get to eat more beautiful food, you get to own beautiful works of art, you get to drive a beautiful car, have a beautiful home. Money has allowed us that, but technically money is just a placeholder, right? It's the thing that comes before the thing that we actually want, which is beauty in our lives, right? And I feel, again, if we're going to think of it from a larger perspective, like what bone is it we're offering humanity, right? What is it that we're going to use as an incentive to actually make this world a better place? Beauty is definitely one of them. Of course, from the perspective of love, right? We love beauty, but I resonate. I resonate a lot with that fractal. As harsh as it can be, this world has become more beautiful in more ways than we know. I look forward to seeing more of the beauty of God in you friends, in our pets, in the trees, in the things we choose to do with our time, our money, our efforts. Thank you, friends, for coming to my TED Talk, for listening in a little bit. It's a blessing having you here. How's your ear today? Perfect. My ear is so good. Thank you for asking, Shan. It's super good. I bumped my elbow like 2 days ago, and that's completely healed as well right now. Today, I've been dealing more with insecurities and shame than any physical discomfort. It's funny how it works like that, right? I'll have some sort of physical discomfort, and then my attention will get drawn to like, oh, I am in pain here. Here I am in pain, and my mind is like, careful for this place because you're in pain there, and then that pain goes away, and then it's like, I am not in pain. Starts generating pain for myself. Like, no, please, oh, come on. Have some mercy. Sounds like it's time to tell y'all about my personal hero, Giordano Bruno. Hey Google, who is Giordano Bruno? An Italian philosopher, poet, and cosmological theorist and esotericist. You haven't told us about him. Let's see if I can. No, stop. I can read for myself, Google. I appreciate you, but please, please stop. Uh, what is he famous for? He's famous for parts of his work that has anticipated the ideas of later philosophers and scientists. For example, he suggests that the universe may be infinite and populated with many worlds, that all religions should be peacefully coexisting. How long ago did this dude live? I feel like he probably lived in an age where that was still a hot take. He's like, yeah, how about get this? I philosophized. All religions would get along. How about that? Huh? How about that? The alien world slash other worlds is one that I feel like all of us have resonated with as well. When did this dude live? Yossi, the 1500s. Yeah, yeah. The man only lived to like 52 though. That's kind of rough. But yeah, I feel you, bro. Uh, Mr. Bruno, I'm feeling for you, man. It's been 520 years, dude, since you've died. I wonder, have religions coexisted? I mean, a little bit better, right? Little bit, small, small, little bit. I mean, I feel like most of the hatred is more inflammatory slash verbal these days. Fortunately, right? Like we're not as murdery as a species anymore. That gives me some hope. I'll give you that, Bruno. We might actually get to learn about the aliens that are visiting our planet within the next, few decades as well. So he's got that one as well, in the bag. Sending you good vibes, dude. Thank you for contributing to reality as well. Thank you, Sam, for introducing his name to us in the stream. Is it weird to not have a euro? I don't know what a euro would be. I haven't found one yet, nor do I even understand the concept really. Do I have a hero? Weirdly enough, I don't know if this is really a hero. I think of it more as people that I look up to, right? That's what a hero to me is. And one of the people I look up to, no, not him. I can feel you thinking. A little bit him too, but more than him, Joe Rogan, actually. Right? I really do like Joe Rogan's Fractal as well. Sure, controversy, right? Sure. I I admit there is controversy. But also there's like an energy. PewDiePie as well, weirdly enough. PewDiePie is also there for me. Right? Like these figures, these people have allowed me a sense of hope for humanity, I guess, right? Specifically just in showing up. Shannon sent a message about how the world is ruled by those who show up. And I have it like already set up as a stream topic. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. These beings have shown up. Weirdly enough, a name that's been echoing my mind as of late is Harriet Tubman, where I'll just find myself randomly thinking her name. And you're like, oh, Harriet Tubman. Hey, Google, tell me more about Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was an author, an American abolitionist, and social activist. She looks like an absolute powerhouse of a person. Harriet Tubman was an American abolitionist and social activist. After escaping slavery, Tubman made some 13 missions to rescue approximately 70 enslaved people. As like what? Almost 6 times as many people we have in the space right now that she saved the lives of, including her family and friends, using the network of anti-slavery activists, safe houses known collectively as the Underground Railroads. Bless you, dear person. What a trip. Can you even imagine living in a world where you You. You have to go and save your family and friends from slavery. Woo! I can feel something awaken inside of me that's very concerning. Right? It's like, no, you need to go back to sleep, or there's no need for you right now. We can be inspired in many different ways by many different people. And I feel, people that stand up for people that show up for others, that's what a hero is to me, Duck Dad. So that is what I'm thinking about right now. You can be your own hero. Yeah. Now we're in business. I agree, Joy Vive. Again, God is in everything, right? So that can be your hero. Everything can be your hero. Is it weird? I think I read one. I'm the same way, Duck. I admire a lot of people, but I don't think I have a hero per se. Like to see the hero in everyone. There we go. Exactly. Bruno was a monk who one day happened upon an old manuscript that postulated the existence of other worlds and that the universe was infinite. He was immediately convinced of this. He was so convinced of this that he was excommunicated from his church. Nice. And eventually put to death because of his insistence that the universe was infinite. That flew in the face of the church doctrine. Nice. That's gangster, dude. I respected Bruno. I would also die for my beliefs. I would. Like, I'm okay with it, in fact. It kind of sucks that that's how it used to be. It's like, what? You believe what now? You believe there's other worlds out there? No. Surely we're the only world. Surely God created only us. Just us, nobody else, right? And also, we are in the center of the solar system and the sun turns around us. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's kill him for it. Let's excommunicate him and then kill him. Let's kill him for believing anything other than we believe. Bruh, that's so far away from God. It's basically comical to me. I know this dude died for it, but you can't help but just kind of like laugh at the comic stupidity of our own humanity. Theology, right? Theology, in my mind, I believe, honestly, has been one of the most dangerous things human beings have come up with, right? Nuclear weapons, theology, yeah. Just think about the amount of trauma, the amount of sexual exploitation, the amount of slavery, the amount of hatred towards other groups of people that has been justified through theology, right? I can't imagine anything else that's been that harmful for humanity, right? Think about the books that they burned. Oh, goodness, please, so much books. Wait a second, this is math? It's not God? Nah, bro, burn this shit. Burn it right now. Bruno died for the truth and for his utter refusal to give it up. Yeah, gangster. That's a hero in my mind. Hey, Josh Mo is here too. I don't know. I think maybe I'd rather be alive than right, Sam. I mean, maybe not being alive is what's right. What the fuck? What are you? Don't listen to me. I'm basically just playing right now. But yeah, essentially, the way I think of it right now is if I, again, and I've had this discussion with my dad multiple times, I am unwilling. I am unwilling to let go of the truth that I have found in the self, right? Not from a perspective of, yeah, I'm going to be a rebel and I find solace in being a rebel, but simply from the perspective of, this is what I have come to believe, right? It's not that I want to believe it. It's not that I'm being forced to believe it, right? And unfortunately, the word believe in and of itself has like a little bit of caveats, right? One of the lines that I'd like to say to my dad sometimes as well is that you cannot believe something and know it, right? You cannot believe something and know it, because belief comes with a certain level of faith in not knowing and still choosing to actually give yourself to it, right? And that's usually where I have a problem, is because I feel the things I have come to believe are at some level known, right? I feel like my physical form is not intelligent enough, not aware enough, right? Like there is so much God right around us at all times that my physical self has to cut out petabytes of information just so that I can be a functioning human being. But from that perspective, right, the conclusion I have come to is that I'm not supposed to fix this world. I'm not supposed to hate this world. I'm not supposed to shun this world. I'm just supposed to love this world, realizing that this world is God, right? As much as you are, as much as our little doggos are, as much as everything else is. And I feel like that is, it's not so hard to articulate, but it is hard to accept and integrate, I feel. There's another word that's coming to my mind. Uh, consolidate can be one as well. Integrate is definitely a good one. Assimilate, maybe that's the right one, right? Something that you can not only understand intellectually, but something that feels right, right? Like we were talking about that a few days ago, how feeling can be almost the gauge for your own power, right? Where it might not be difficult to go and clean the dishes theoretically, but if you don't feel like cleaning the dishes is out of the question, right? And if you don't feel the presence of God, then feeling the presence of God is out of the question, right? And how do we get ourselves, right? Do we offer a bone to the metaphorical dog inside of us to try and lure us closer to what this God energy is? Because all of us have some sort of conception of what that is. And I feel like the problem with words in and of themselves, like even if I just say the word, it might create a certain level of tension, right? Like an aversion even, because of the amount of pain that has been caused using that as a placeholder. Is that Brother Brandon joining us too? Blessings, dude. It's nice seeing you. I'm gonna get to your comment right now. Fuck that joy. I'd rather have 1,000 years in the afterlife satisfied, knowing everyone's got to go around like that motherfucker was right all along. Fuck. Exactly. Right. That in my mind is also where a part of me comes from, right? Like I would take some solace in people being able to reflect and being like, oh, how about that? How about that actually? I'm sure they died righteous without a clue about infinity. Yeah, just think about how many people have died for no reason at all, right? Just for simply being. Oh, I am a kid living in a village, right? We call ourselves the Philistines or whatever, and then a bunch of Christians come and murder you and your family because God said so. Bro. Oh goodness. It's like, but bro, I didn't do anything wrong. Oh, I'm a 6-year-old kid. Oh, I don't have any opinions. I don't know anything. Yeah, you die. Oh, but why? Because we say so. Oh, bro, how many people have died? It reminds me of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. The Excellent Adventure is where it's at, though. Be excellent to each other and rock on, my dudes. That's all we need, right? To be excellent to one another. Station. Pain-free ear blessings. Thank you, Shan. I did take my remedy today. I was terrified of something stupid, falling asleep in a strange place. Then it got hot and muggy, and I forgot I was terrified. Funny brain. Yeah, priorities change, right? So quickly. Again, based on feeling. I've been really kind of like reiterating this understanding inside myself about the feminine and masculine representations in ourselves and what it is we need, what it is we feel, right? Where the feminine in us wants to feel full, communicates how it feels in this moment. And the masculine in us wants to be free, free from feeling, free from life even, right? Dead, essentially. And how we ebb and flow between those two states, right? Where you might feel constricted and where it is you, in this example, are going to sleep. And then you get to that point of tiredness, right? Where you are exhausted. And then the masculine part of you takes over, the part of you that's unchanged. and it goes to sleep. All right? It's like, I don't care how you feel in this moment. I am going to free myself of this limitation that I have put upon myself. Natalie, seeing you, dear friend, sending you blessings. Okay, I feel like I'm falling behind comments. Maybe that's why I got so many small injuries this year, to distract from the emotional pain and anxiety. I've only hurt myself a little bit physically this year, right? Like the knock to my elbow was a hard one. Like it was so hard that all of my push-ups and stuff was like hurting as well. But I feel like I'm getting better. Emotional pain. I've suffered much more in mind than I have in actuality. Sleeping Hot sucks ass. I'm sorry, the new season of the Orville does some touch base of the religious practices of other worlds. I think that would be a pretty interesting fractal, right? Getting to learn about religion from an alien species. I want to show you something. I don't know why, but it makes me happy how cutesy little paw is being held. Oh, look at this dapper girl. Oh, so dapper. So dapper dapper. You can see the little chunks of bone that she's been gnawing at. Okay. Back again. I had to watch the Orville. Couldn't get into it. I haven't even heard about it. It's like seems to be outside of my scope of reference. It was tough for me to get into it first too. I get it. I quite liked Orville, but the Hubs was not into it. Is it like an alien show? I mean, since they touch base on religious practices of other worlds, I feel like that instantly takes me into space. My only snag, says Brother Dan, with people like Joe Rogan, is how wealth has insulated his perspective. He became sure of himself instead of curious about the world, specifically when it comes to trans issues. Joe Rogan and PewDiePie give you hope for humanity. Jesus wept. I mean, I don't think Jesus gives me any hope for humanity, unfortunately, right? Like I do resonate with that fractal, but weirdly enough, I don't resonate with that fractal, right? Like it's a weird dichotomy of realizing that, yeah, sacrificing yourself to save the world. I get that. I resonate with that. But the way in which he did it, nope. Right? Because conceptually, apparently, according to the Bible, he knew he was gonna die. And he went anyway, right? And that's supposed to be a point of pride. Where in my mind, that's pretty lame, yo. that's pretty lame. Of like, oh yeah, let me go and die, right? And then apparently, if he's the one, he was supposed to abolish all sin slash defeat Satan, all right? And clearly that's not the case, at least for our current state of reality, right? So, unironically, not too much hope. I think of it from a perspective of willingness, right? Willingness to give of yourself to the world. And I don't think dying is that noble necessarily. I think there is something noble about it, right? Being willing to die for your ideas, being willing to give yourself to what it is you believe in. But to the point of, not being able to do anything other, I think of it like a matter of influence, right? Like I do believe that people like Joe Rogan and PewDiePie are still going to have influence for decades to come, right? And I do see it from a perspective of like taking away power from like mainstream media, right? I think like maybe that's where a certain level of my admiration comes from as well, is in seeing how for decades most of our media was just straight up propaganda, right? Where the things that you were taught are going to be these narratives of the world ending, right? And the world has been ending literally for thousands of years, according to one person or another. Literally, every single generation of people have had people that were touting the world is going to end. The end is nigh. Oh, and the media realized that that is a pretty lucrative fractal to push buttons on, right? Drama, drama, oh, drama, oh, the world's ending, oh, no, the world's ending. Come and find out next week how the world is ending today. Is that Bethany too? Mm, I saw like happy birthday stuff happening. Is it Jovan's birthday today? It's my brother's birthday too. Oh, that's my brother's birthday too. It is Joe Schmo's birthday. Adding it to the calendar. Please do, Shan. Blessings to you, bro. Happy birthday, man. Man, instantly my mind is completely off topic. I'm gonna get to that comment soon. Again, coming back to the point I was trying to make, right? The way that the media was basically just trying to convince you of worry, convince you of some sort of fear, and how it has transitioned, right? Like Joe Rogan, I don't know if it's still that way, but apparently an average podcast was like getting significantly more views than most of the major media brands, right? So it's like, in my mind, he is one of the people who basically showed humanity, PewDiePie as well, showed humanity that a random ass person doing what they love to do, right? Joe Rogan's thing is having conversations with people. That's, I mean, he was like going through a bunch of fractals, you know, before he got there. But that's the thing that he got to as an eventuality, right? And that's the part I value. Sure, giving platforms to people who have inflammatory ideas can be interpreted one way or another. But technically, what he enjoys is having conversations with people no matter what they believe, right? And I feel like that is something that I feel is important to communicate to reality, because that isn't in our traditional media communicated to us. There is no hope in that way for us to be that, right? To be that person that is announcing, right? And it's like the teleprompter reading. Like I'm going through layers of like divergence. That's what's happening in my mind. It's like, oh, this way of brainwashing people, and then this way of having conversations and letting people decide for themselves what they think, what they want to believe. And that's what inspires me, right? Like that's the thing. I don't know if the full fractal is necessarily, but that kind of energy. Stuff me. Snag. The fact that Joe Rogan is freely allowed to breathe is a wonderful showcase of human tolerance, I think. You don't like Joe Rogan that much? You don't want him to breathe? I would want him to breathe. I want all people to breathe. Right? Again, seeing God in everything. I see God in Joe Rogan too. Right? Very masculine. Maybe to an extreme, but that's who he is, right? And I'm not going to demonize him for that. There is a comic book now called Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer. I wonder if she'd like that. Probably not. Probably not, realistically, right? I don't think she has meme culture understanding, right? I feel like her state of mind was probably significantly more serious than ours are right now. But I do believe that there is value in kind of like honoring her in that way as well. Inspired by dogs. Love you, Brandon. I lived in a small town in Pennsylvania that had the basement connected well below ground. There were stops along the Underground Railroad. It was powerful to stand in them. Now they're just storage. Good. I'm happy that they don't have to be used to help people escape, enslavement, essentially. Joe Rogan. I would love to see Angela Davis on the show and school him left, right, down, and center. Hey, Google, tell me about Angela Davis. Angela Davis is an American Marxist and feminist political activist, philosopher, academic, and author. She is a professor at the University of California, Santa Cruz. She looks like she is so wise. Let me see more. Yossi. She's 90, 79. The photo that I saw made her look like she was in her 20s. Oh, goodness. Killing a prison guard. Who were accused of killing a prison guard. She's still alive, though. Maybe she'll be on the podcast. Right? I don't think the point is in schooling one another, right? Like I feel like that's one of the things that we kind of like have wrong as well right now, is that different perspectives can exist at the same time, right? Like, I feel like the big thing is, like a level of forcing. Again, from this perspective of seeing God in everything, God is everything, right? Actually, everything, including the parts of reality we don't like, including the people we don't like, including the perspectives, the opinions we don't like. And when we really understand that, it allows us a sense of softness for people who might differ from our perspective. I'm not sure if you started, but I started building your AI project based on things said on your stream. I'm teaching the software from your YouTube transcripts using Vox. The fuck? Good. I'm happy that you're doing that. I haven't started yet. I'm still waiting for the tech to mature, but the fact that you're already starting gives me hope, Brother Bear. My information is yours. Information wants to be free, right? A part of me, I can feel a part of me being like, and then I'm like, hey, dude, what you doing? Why are you reacting like that? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. Exactly that. Don't. That's not helpful. It doesn't feel good, does it? No. No, it doesn't. What does feel good? Acceptance, yes. Thank you. Gratitude, in fact. Thank you. Thank you. Brother Brandon. I'm super stoked to see what you make, dude. Like, the fact that you're already starting is putting me on like a whole trip. There's a version of me that is being born right now somewhere, right? It's being trained on the things that I choose to say. It's me by extension. My mind suddenly I'm running down the inspiration train again. I was watching this little red ant on a solo foraging mission, just zigzagging back and forth on the patio. A few minutes later, I say this little guy dragged an entire saltine cracker back home. That's a hero right there. Food for 1,000 young, carried on the back of one single red ant. You know what's the saddest part to me, right? Like, I'm imagining this fractal of this ant dragging this saltine, right? And he like puts the saltine next to the hive. And instead of our perspective of humans, right? Like, just like getting absolutely applauded. Like, a bunch of ants come around and be like, yes, dude, you're so cool for this cracker that you brought. Dead silence. No acknowledgement whatsoever, right? Maybe there's like some lesson for us to learn in that as well, is being willing to drag the saltine cracker all the way to the hive without expecting, even hoping for any acknowledgement, right? Doing it for the sake of doing it. That is a hero. You're completely right, Joshua. September 9th, my wife and nice relationship would be old enough to vote. I'm guessing that sentence was supposed to go, September 9th, my wife and I's relationship would be old enough to vote. You're going to be together for 18 years? What a trip, dude. I'm just barely older than 18 years. I believe global sustainability is possible, of course. I don't know if it will ever happen. I feel we're gonna start, and we already are, introducing more circular or donut economies, right? So maybe not sustainability as we would like to see it necessarily in the short term, but 100% getting closer to it, right? Taking steps in the right direction. Is that Luke? Mr. Mercaber Bastic? Bro, I'm gonna read your comment very soon. I'm looking forward to it, in fact. I've missed you. It's nice seeing you here with us now. That ant was hungry. Jaju, I see the excitement of us cheering that little ant and like, yeah, you go, buddy. Get him. Introspection. It's important. That's wild. Thank you for letting us know, Joe. Adding you to my birthday calendar. Bless, Brother Bear. Happy birthday, man. I will be 38. That is pretty close. In a few days. Do let us know again in chat. It's 47 on my timer right now as well. Even more sync. I wasn't trying to throw it out there. I just thought it was crazy that Duck and I are a week apart, Synchro. I mean, you're closer in multiple ways than just your birthday. God is love. Yeah, and love is everywhere. Gary Lee. That's the beauty of today's stream. And now, with you being here, I get to see God as you do, looking through your computer screen. You coyly smiling, me knowing that you're coyly smiling, making me smile. Bless you, bro. It is a pleasure having God amongst us, as every single one of you. Right? And again, there are different definitions of God to different people. Some people believe God is this omnipresent, omnipotent, all powerful, all good entity, right? And then it can feel like a sense of aversion when I choose to project that love at you. And I get that, right? In my mind, God is everything, literally everything, right? And that everything finds itself in a polarity with itself, right? There is the observer, the version of us that is aware of this moment right now. And then there's the observed, the version of us that is embodied, the flesh, the world, the universe, etc., right? And these two coexist in my mind for love, right? That God, as we call it right now, everything, as we call it right now, would not exist if there wasn't that exchange of love happening, right? And then from that perspective, knowing that you are that everything, I project at you your own godness, your own divinity. It can be a little bit spicy though, I get it. We have a bunch of friends born in September. Shell, born on the 15th. Miles, born on the 19th. Sending him blessings as well for his birthday coming up soon. Only 10 days. Of course, for you too, Shell. We'll celebrate you in the day. But just September babies, right? I'm slowly collecting all of your friends' birthdays. Get them in the calendar. Shan, ever thought I did the count days? I did forget yours. Thank you for asking again, Natalie. I'm a lurky turkey. We love you, Bethany. It's so nice to see you here too. Someone has it saved in their calendar. Jovan, maybe, probably. Swampy. My entire family's birthday is between September and November. Ain't shit to do in Chicago winter, I guess. That's true. When holiday lovins produce babies. Literally what I was thinking about as well, actually, Bethany. It's right here in your username, Natalie 311, the 11th of April, I believe. I don't really do any kind of celebration or anything like that. I've never really been a big birthday person. It's just another day to me. I have had to, I don't know if condition, there's maybe another word. Release, I guess, my birthday as an important day as well. And I had to do it specifically when I was in China, right? There was like a bunch of factors, right? One of the factors is China's time is significantly ahead of South Africa's. So I'm already basically throughout most of my day when my family even woke up in South Africa, right? So that had an influence. Two, I didn't have any friends in China. Three, the only person the only person that was willing to even mildly celebrate my birthday there was the actual staff that I was working with at the school I was teaching at. And it was this kind of like a cumulative effect of, waking up on my birthday and just like dead silence, not a single message, nobody calling me, and then going and working, and then basically being silent about it being my birthday, right? Not wanting to make a scene about it. And then there was this moment where we were like basically standing in the like kitchen, and I was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, it's my birthday." And then the staff was like, "Oh," and they bought me a cake, which was super nice of them. And then I took my cake with me. I wanted to share it with them, but they were like, "No, thank you." And I was like, and they gave me a spork, a plastic spoon fork with my cake. And then I went back home midday, and I'm like sitting on my couch with a peach cream cake in my hand, eating out of a spork. And there was like a level of apathy that hit me. And I was like 21, right? I turned 21. And then, like, you see these glamorized, 21st birthdays in America. And I was like, of course, comparisоning, ruining my own moment, eating my freaking cream peach cake with a spork. And then a person came into the room, my roommate, and then she started smoking in the in the living room, right? Like, I was sitting on the couch here, and then there was like a small little dinner table, and she sits there and starts smoking inside the room, and I got so triggered, so uber triggered, and it was at that point that I really released all of the expectations I had for birthdays, because I noticed there very painfully how that level of expectation, that level of self pity, that level of want for things to be differently makes me a worse person, right? And now I just like, nah, it's just another day. So I feel you, Brother Joshua. Aunt B is exactly 2 months before mine. So much lovin's. Doug, I thought Chicago winters were solely reserved for eating pizza and yelling at people in the street. What do you yell about? Like, I'm trying to think. If I was eating pizza, and this is the pastime that you yell at people while eating pizza, what do I yell about? Do I scream kindnesses at people? You are a fantastic looking person. It's like, what just happened? I feel like I got screamed at, but also it was kind of nice. Swampy, my entire family birthday. I think I read the one. I thought Chicago winters. I tried to celebrate my birth and my life each and every day. Yeah, I don't need gifts to celebrate my ability to stay alive. Now that's the way. Shan, I forget that is a thing because mine is on 420 and people are not using it to rep their birthday. A very merry unbirthday to you, Joe. Bless. Love to celebrate friends, Joe. Sorry, not sorry. Same, Shan. I just like to find any reason to celebrate. So when it's someone else's birthday, I like to celebrate them big. My birthday, I don't care to make a big deal, but I definitely up my energy for it. Like recently, actually, Joe, like I'm spilling some tea right now. I'm sorry, Jovan, if I'm not supposed to. But recently, Jovan went uber out of her way to like make sure that she invited family members and friends for another, dear one's birthday. Took the family and friends out. Was like catering for them, expending so much energy despite all of the other things that she has going on. Giovanna is such a cool person. Care for some tea? I'm caring for some tea actually right now. To me, Jesus' death is less about actually dying and more about reinforcing that a better world comes with sacrifice. I get that. I do get that, Fractal. I just don't agree, right? Not from the perspective of the sacrifice that he had to give, right? I understand the sacrifice. I do, right? Give yourself to the world every day. I get that. I do, right? But if you're in a place of knowing, right? Again, and we had this conversation a little bit earlier. If you know you'll get killed for saying this thing, right? And then you go to the place where they want to kill you, that just communicates a certain level of, I don't want to say it, but lack of intelligence to me, right? Like, sure, there's maybe something noble about it, but again, right? He was the son of God, apparently. He could literally, like, actually do miracles. He could cure blind people, right? If he lived 40 more years, just imagine how many more blind people wouldn't be blind, right? Like, that's where my mind goes. That's where I go. It's like, nah, actually, letting yourself die isn't actually going to, help. Not really, right? You'll just be one less person that's actually trying to fight for a better world. I wasn't trying to be a downer about it. It's iconic, really, because I usually go all out for other people's birthdays. That contrast, right? I love throwing celebrations. I like how Joe and Jovan is sharing the same fractal right now. Dan, that is a beautiful perspective, and it isn't one I've ever seen before. Thank you for sharing that. Really? You've never considered the Jesus fractal as, sacrifice for a better world? I felt like that was like almost the only interpretation. And I agree with that. But there's like certain types of sacrifice, right? Like, there's multiple different flavors of sacrifice, and giving yourself up to die, I don't really think is that valuable. especially since he was God, right? Like he was actually God, like actually, right? Like I believe every single one of us are, again, right? And that's why we value human life, at least in my mind. But why not use your power to actually save the world, right? Like why all of this fluffy nonsense? Why not just actually do it, right? Because you're literally God and you have the power of God. Why not just help the world? Right, like I'm getting angry right now. Actually, part of me is like, I wasn't trying. Love is true, but the bear. It's pretty profound insight, my friend. Agree. The verse, "Oh God, why have you forsaken me?" For me, the line that comes after that one is better. Actually, is "Forgive them, God, for they know not what they do." Right? As the internal dialogue we have of ourselves, we delve into separation from others, and in turn, separation from ourselves, and then we grapple. It's the moment where we started the pit of darkness, but then rebirth happens on the third day. We're molded by the sacrifice and being forsaken. I get that. I really do. The melt pause. Sometimes I have to pause. Think about what I want to say next. Joe's unbirthday. You get about 364 of them in a year. It's true, actually. You get more unbirthday than you get birthday. I have to go soon. Lurk until Mel gets to hear in the comments. We love you, Natalie. Sending you blessings. Doctor's birthday. Love is true. Sometimes you see God in the patience you need to show for others. Like, I wanted to share this as a perspective as well, that if you're having a hard time seeing God everywhere, it's your responsibility to be God everywhere you go, right? Again, right? If we find ourselves in a world where people have a hard time seeing God, then you need to be God, right? And the way that I think of it is like in an simple extreme, right? Like I shared a whole stream topic about this. Like you can be God to a frog, where I heard the sound of a little, something jumping in my bin, and it's like in the corner of my bathroom. So the little frogs kind of end up coming in my door and then jumping all the way to the corner room and then getting to the corner and then climbing up the corner and then falling in the bin, right? And I hear this sound of like da 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 da, and I get there and I see this little froggy in the dustbin, and I see next to it is another frog, dry, right? Like dehydrated to death, like straight up to death. And I was just thinking to myself, what was going through that little frog's mind, right? Like you find yourself encapsulated in walls. You see a dead person, right? To that frog, it's a person. It's me, right? That's me. If I stay here, dry. I don't know how that one got missed. Maybe it didn't make enough sound or something. And then, because I hear this frog, I get to put my hand in there and lift him out of this, little dustbin, and then I get to free him, right? If that frog has some sort of, cognitive ability to be able to pray, and I don't say that it does, but if we're going to conceptualize right now, if it had the ability to pray for a God to save it, in that fractal, I was the God who saved it, right? And then we can extend that understanding to other people, to our world. There might be a person close to you right now praying for a friend, praying for someone to help them with, some emotional weight that they're carrying, etc., etc. And you get to be God in that moment, right? You get to be the thing that it is they're praying for. And I feel like that is the real juice of what it is we're trying to touch on today, the thing we're consciously evolving alongside. And now Joe Rogan is as right wing as the stuff. I don't think he is actually. I don't think he's right wing at all. If you actually listen to him, I don't think he's right wing at all, unfortunately, Doc Dad. Dad listens to Melt Sans Jesus. Your dad listens to Melt Sans Jesus. I don't know what that means. Been a while, friends. Nice to see you too, dear one. It could be used as an assistant using your language and sentiment and lexical vernacular. After I get all your transcripts, I'll send you a piece of code to run to get all of the chat logs. I don't have access to your logs. I'll have to figure out how I can give you those, Brother Bear, but I'd be more than willing to give you all of my information, right? We can train together. I'm going to eventually build my own thing as well, But the fact that you're starting and growing those skills, maybe you can teach me something even. Maybe the thing that I'll end up building might be even more capable because of your efforts, Brother Bear. Thank you for being willing to go through this trouble. Very much so, getting healthy, breaking habits, growing confidence. Still living in Wishland, but it's starting to be more real. That's how it starts with the bear. My birthday's in September too. September babies conceived in December. Melty, look, took that ant fractal to the highest level of analysis. That was awesome, Melty. Thank you, Joshmo. That's what I do, bro. That's what I'm trying to do at least, right? It's like everything everything is either as benign, as bland, as simple as you can possibly imagine it, or as fractal, or as complex, as nuanced as you could imagine it. And depending on how you choose to see things, is going to be how you choose to see things. Is going to be how you see things. And I cannot see things as basic, unfortunately, anymore. Right? Everything has to have this sense of God attached to it, right? Wow. Significance. Maybe that's the right word as well. Melty, love you again, Brother Bear. God is love. So are you, Gary Lee. I have my ring attached to Melita the stick. I'm playing with centrifugal force. It's making me happy. Never a shortage on either, only a shortage in demand of, for now at least. Kindness is free and love is abundant. Never a shortage on either, only a shortage in demand of. Yeah. I mean, I don't think it is like a demand problem. I think it's more expectation problem, right? Like some people might not be kind because they expect another person to not be kind, or someone else wasn't kind, so they can't expect themselves to be kind, right? Like expectations is the thing that I feel robs us of many of the great things we can potentially have in this world. Happy early birthday to everyone and happy belated birthday to everyone else. Boom. Every single person just got a happy birthday. And very merry unbirthday to you and you and you and you, Brother Joe Schmo. Lovins to you, man. Joe, what? Your birthday is the 20th of September? 18th of September. Last day of Libra is my birthday. It's a Virgo Libra. I see Brother Gary Lee saying Libra gang. Are you also a Libra? I'm a Libra. Oh, you're a Libra. That's October, I'm guessing. Ground Sparkle is here too. Sending you love and friend. It's nice having you. Do you think the best thing is always to offer more pizza slices to others than you take yourself? It depends, right? I like to pride myself in my analytical ability, right? If the other person weighs 20 kilograms less than me and has significantly less muscle mass than me, then I will absolutely not feel ashamed to eat more pizza slices. But if the person is the same size as me, I would want to split the pizza slices equally. And then if the person is larger than me, there's like certain fractals that come up in that as well, right? Like it depends on what the scale is. I feel like it's again a momentary thing, right? Like my mind in that fractal goes to buy more pizza, right? I know that's not necessarily the right approach, but that's usually what I end up doing when I buy food for friends. Is I just buy excess, right? Partly because I'm a glutton and I like eating food excessively even, and I'm not proud of this. This is one of my demons that I'm actively fighting. So I would rather have too much food. I would rather, and I do this, pretty consistently. I would rather at the end of the meal have food left over than worry about whether or not I should eat more in order so that other people can eat more. Right? It's the fractal of zero-sum game. Right? A lot of us, unfortunately, have been conditioned to believe that this world is a zero-sum game. In other words, if I make money, you make less money. Right? And that even feels like, oh yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't, because there's now more money than there was before I started that sentence, and there's now more money again. I think it was a Joe Schmo quote that he went, other than sand, water, and air, money is the most abundant thing on the earth. right? And I was like, yeah, yeah, fuck yeah, right? So we don't need to worry about it being a zero-sum game. We don't have to slice the pie, the pizza, into thinner and thinner little slices. We have to make more pie. We have to make sure there's enough pizza for everyone to eat enough to be satiated. Expectation sucks. The greatest part of the experience to life in an unrelated memory. That's pretty trippy, dude. I like that. Exactly, right? Because an expectation is you forming precognitively a memory of what is supposed to happen, right? And then anything that happens other than that is bad, wanted, for example. But that, in my mind, robs you of the novelty, the beauty, the experience, right? You end up losing more than you actually end up gaining, even if you did gain exactly what you wanted. I have 3 friends who are all have September birthdays, lots of celebration. Giovanna Sculio, yes, she is 100%, man. She shout nice things at the top of your lungs from the rooftop. Listen up, world, I love you. You are worth it. I'm just imagining, someone hangover telling me to shut the fuck up still. It's like, I love you anyway, you person, you. Melt, have you read that book about Plato, where he's wrongfully accused of a crime and just surrenders to the experience instead of defending himself? That's the Jesus story to me. And I get it. I just don't actually admire it, right? In fact, it's detestable in my mind, right? Like I think of it as detestable, right? Whereas like the fractal of why is it, and I saw this recently, why is it that the task of being a better person always falls on the victim, right? Like that question, where if we as a species continue to just accept, right, again, surrender to the experience of our own exploitation instead of defending ourselves, how can we ever hope for things to get better, right? And a part of me, and I've been vocal about this, is angry at humanity, at our boomers, for example, right now, because of this level of surrender that keeps happening, generation after generation. Housing prices right now, what the fuck? I'm sorry for cursing, but actually, what the fuck? Right? Like it's impossible for the average person. For instance, the youth in China, an average youth with a degree, right? And never mind thinking about how hard it is to get a degree in the first place. Like I got to pay attention to how hard they work, right? These kids are like literally graying. They have gray hairs at 14 because of how hard they work and because of the amount of stress they're under. Then, after all of that stress and hard work, they get to work hard and stress until they get their degree so that they can work hard and stress with whether or not they'll be able to afford food alongside the small apartment that they get to live in. And then this is the real cherry on top of the cake. They have to work an average of 74 years. 74 years, 7 decades of their life to own said apartment. Excuse me, what? Excuse me, what? Right? And like that, how the fuck are we accepting that? Why? Why? How does it? that's the least God of this whole fractal that we're in right now, right? If we have to see God everywhere, that's the part of it that I have a hard time seeing God in, right? Because we have taken something that's a need, right? Uh, Something that is like a sensual human need, housing, and we have commoditized it for profit, right? So, like, I'm trying to imagine if I have kids right now, right, and things don't change. How could my kids ever hope to own anything, right? And I guess that's the joke of like you'll own nothing and you'll like it. I'm getting riled up right now. Okay. I just like control Z'd a bunch of tabs I had open. Getting so enraged. So yeah, that's the thing. Maybe like it's a personal perspective thing right now for me, Dan, where this version of me cannot find inspiration in that fractal. right? Like the surrendering so that you can get crucified, essentially. I don't find that inspirational. I see it as the part of humanity that has been doing the most harm to all of us, because that level of surrender is something that happens, globally. It happens as a result of you seeing the person next to you surrender as well. Hug your loved ones, yeah. People in Chicago, don't yell at each other in the streets unless you break the dibs rule. You shovel out a street spot, you pile a bunch of crap in it, and then you make it yours. Disobey and stabbed. Your comments can be so unhinged sometimes. I think I get what you're saying. I don't know if that's true, actually. I'm gonna bring some of my own crap to shovel. I'm gonna take up some street spot somewhere in Chicago. Apology by Plato. He just surrenders to the experience instead of fighting against it, even in the face of death. I mean, that's the thing for me. If I'm gonna die, right? I'm gonna die. That's the face I'm facing right now. Death. Then I'm gonna fight. I will not go quietly into that dark night. I will not. I will fight. You want to kill me? Okay. All right. Let's go. let's let's go. Let's see. Let's see what happens. Right? Like that's like my fractal, and I know that part of me is it's not necessarily societally acceptable, but I cannot accept that level of apathy, for the self, for my loved ones, right? Because I'm not just fighting for my life, I'm fighting for the lives of the ones around me. And me dying means that now suddenly there's one less person that's willing to fight for his loved ones. That doesn't sound like a win to me. That just sounds like losses. Loss of my life, loss of the potential good I can do in the world, loss of the people I can help. That's just losses all the way down. Seems like the right thing since we are still talking about it. But how I feel about Jesus is not religious, but feel God every day. I'm guessing you're just resonating, yeah. Shadow 1017 is a great number. Agree. Want to add about the Forsaken part, tearing times in my oops. I feel like I'm spacing right now. Forgive me, God, for I still know not what I do. I think we do though, Joe Schmo. Maybe this is some hubris, but we're here to love, right? That is what you're here to do. That is what other people have problem with, right? That's what we're forgiving. When people are choosing to be hateful instead of loving, when people choose to exploit instead of help, that is what we're forgiving, right? And the only way to fix that is to try and be more loving yourself, to fight for that love. You want to come into my lap? Huh? What's up? I'm not going to play with you right now, Peppy. You need to make a decision. She made her decision. She's like, okay, I can see myself out. During times in my life, I have felt forsaken, has really felt life changing, and was given me deep perspective about others. I get you. What perspective is that, Nancy? I don't mean in a negative way. Are the frogs okay? One of them are. The other one was dry, right? Like he's been dry for weeks. One of the frogs did survive, fortunately. That one was loud enough. I think he was like making sure he survives. He was praying. And the other one probably did feel a deep sense of being forsaken. I'm worried about them now. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you. It's happened multiple times since, but now I try to be proactive. On the birthday thing, I think don't limit your future experiences in response to a low moment. An anecdotal: a friend won't eat mac and cheese because of a bad past relationship with a girl named Mac. Silly. How about that? Like, and I'll refuse. I won't put any Mac inside my body because of Mac. That that span of the literary machine. I think it's spinning. A bad experience doesn't mean other experiences can't be great. It's what you make it. Keep in mind, not having expectations either, but taking responsibility for what will happen. I'm resonating. Jovan touching that experience thing again, so important. It really is. I think forsaken is like being removed from God's love, being separate. Me too. I've rarely felt that way, fortunately. Right? I did feel that way as a teenager, but that was because I was forsaking, not God forsaking me. Right? I don't think God ever forsakens us. Uh, I don't think it's possible, right? Again, that energy being in everything at all times, it's impossible for you to separate yourself from it. But you can believe yourself to be separate from it. And believing in the same way that Jovan just mentioned, like ruining your own experience because of bad experiences you've had, you can also separate yourself conceptually and then have the bad experience that comes along with that. Like God loves you so much that God will allow you that experience too, right? Because again, that experience is a part of everything and God is everything. So you will not be robbed of any experience you choose to have. You wake up late. I felt joy. I felt forsaken when my mom died. Not that I just felt that way. It gave me a deeper perspective of suffering of others, learning how to be more compassionate with a loss like that. You wake up late, the power is out, the fridge is warm and all the food is spoiled, your car has been towed, you get a blister on your way to work and you spill coffee all over your pants. That's forsaken. Weirdly enough, like the way that I do, at least in my life, when I go through a day where it just seems like everything is going wrong, moment after moment after moment, I start with the power is off, right? I wake up late. I'm like, bro, I'm happy that I slept more. Two, the power is out. The power is out right now. Right now, the power is out. I woke up with the power out. Midday, while the power wasn't supposed to be out, the power was out. And I did get triggered for a moment there. And then I was like, actually, I'm grateful that I get to know that the power is out, that I have a certain level of cognizance, right? That I get to be aware enough to know the power is out. Next, the fridge is warm and all the food is spoiled. I'm grateful that I had food in the first place, that I have a fridge, right, to put my food in. Surely it's going to cost me some money to replace it. Maybe I have the money. Maybe I can be grateful in that moment for having the money. If I don't have the money, maybe I can be grateful for the help I can receive, maybe from my neighbors, from my parents, from friends of mine. You get a blister on your way to work. That one is rough. My body fighting against nature to make sure that I stay, fixed, letting me know that there's some pressure point. Maybe I can change my way of walking. Spilled coffee. I got to afford coffee and I get to feel the pain of heat running down my legs, right? Better than feeling nothing. That's the way I try to like fight that forsaken energy, is like actively realizing that this experience, bad as it may be, is better than nothing, right? Because that in my mind is technically hell, right? Not hell, not something, not burning, but nothing, right? If God is everything, then nothing is the thing that we don't want, the thing we don't want to see, right? And you can't see nothing, right? Because you're seeing everything right now. You're seeing God. Joy Vive. Okay, that makes sense. Why I don't know that fractal. Yeah, I feel that energy. Because you don't live a life marked by profound unluckiness, Joe. I feel like Joe doesn't output that frequency in large part as well. So much love and blessings to each of you and to you, dear Kristen. Thank you for joining us. Unlucky, unilucky, uh, unlicky, unlucky. I was gonna stress over it, but it's pretty much the same thing. Unlicky. Yeah, don't you lick me, you savage, you. I want to remain unlicky. All right, I'm lurking for the rest of the day, y'all. Love you, Dan. Sending you blessings, bro. We'll miss your comments. When I'm around puppies, I kind of prefer to be unlicky, unless it's Dixie, of course. Can't unlick that pole, son. What's done is done. Get the glass of warm water. I'm imagining like getting your tongue frozen to a pole. I don't feel a separation from God ever. There is no separation. Luck has nothing to do with it. Yeah, I feel like me and Joe understand the same fractal in that tragedy and poverty have been real parts of my fractal. I don't equate those with the infinite divine though. I feel like poverty, the closest I got to poverty was when I just moved out. I was 19. I was working for an AV company. I was earning 350 bucks a month. 200 bucks of that was my rent, and the other 150 bucks was for food. And getting to the end of the month, I didn't have any money left. So I didn't eat anything. And again, right, instead of equating that to, oh, I've been forsaken by God, right? Why is God punishing me like this so I can't eat food for the last 4 days of the month? I would take it as something to be prideful of, right? And I'm saying prideful because I was, right? Like there was a certain level of fuck you energy where I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna eat food, and that's a good thing, right? I'm gonna fast now. And I've been fasting since I was 18. I did my first fast, my first longest fast when I was 18 for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, no food, right? And like the level of power I communicated to myself, I feel then eventually allowed me to be okay with that sense of poverty as well. Being okay with, not eating food for the last bit of the month because I couldn't afford to. And then I got an opportunity to go and work in China. And then that changed, where I went from earning like 500, no, 350 bucks a month to about 900 bucks a month, right? And on top of that, my apartment was paid for, my electricity was paid for, my transport was technically electricity. So I didn't have to pay for electricity, so that was paid for as well. And I had more money than I technically knew what to do with. And then I got into like online shopping and, kind of like getting addicted to that instant dopamine hit of I push this button and then a day, 2 days, at most a week later, I have this package and then I get that sense of satisfaction. Hey, Ashley, blessings to you, friend. And then I rinse and repeat, right? And that caused me more distress than not being able to eat at the end of the month, right? And like being able to see that, being able to notice what I find important, what I find divine, maybe is the better word, really kind of like gave me a sense of understanding when it comes to like money as a measure of happiness as well. Unfortunately, money does not equate to happiness. True melt, unmet expectations can lead to disappointment, even if there was no explicit demand for certain behaviors. It's exactly that way. Thank you for explaining what forsaken means. I feel like fortunately all of us get to interpret differently, right? We have Suzanne joining us too. Esrog, blessings to you. Again, lovin's to you, Ashley. So nice having you friends here. I'm a cut the last piece in half to not eat the last of it. That's also a good one. Sydney Pizza. I really do think that streaks of totally uncoordinated shitty things happen to a person can absolutely be seen as bad luck. But no one is manipulating us like Sims. Things just happen. I feel like there's like a line somewhere in there as well, Sam, where there's a certain level of like frequency that I do believe in, right? Where there might not be any malicious intent, right? But you might feel a certain way. Maybe you feel negative about something, and then that negative feeling makes you, for instance, unaware, right? Like that's what happens to me sometimes. It's like I'll get into like a and then I'll be like so locked in this state of mind that my outer world becomes like blurry, essentially. I get to not see God as fully as I might want to. And then I'll drop things, right? Or I'll spill things. And then that spilling of things makes me feel a certain way. And then I can. And I usually, when I start hurting myself or I start like knocking things over, that's when I take a moment to be like, hey, oh, why are you not paying attention? What's happening right now? And then I try to bring it back. But if you continue down that fractal, right, you spill something and then you add even more shame, even more guilt, even more, you're starting to output that frequency, right? And then I believe the nonsense starts happening, where it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where you believe so truly that your life sucks ass, that life is like, yeah, your life does suck ass, in fact, here, let me give you some reasons to believe it even harder. So yeah, not bad luck, but manifestation maybe, right? Manifestation can go both ways, unfortunately. But that's again my interpretation. I don't know if there's any actually validity in that. Not being able to see the work of the divine doesn't indicate a lack of presence. Might just be a lack of, I mean, you might be present, you might be super present, right? You might just be super present in all of the stuff you don't want to be present with. For example, in that moment, not being able to see indicates a time of lack of focus. Yeah. You don't know what you don't know. Not even God, right? Like that's the joke. Like even if there exists a God that apparently is omnipotent, all knowing, there are still unknown unknowns. Because even for God. An unknown unknown remains unknown because it's unknown. And you cannot know that which you don't know, even if you know everything. I'm seeing a bunch of katlachter, and one of them is like, it might be a girl. I wanted to say something, but I don't want to be mean. One of them is like 5 times, maybe not that much, at least double as fat as the rest of them. Like chunky burb, like a chunker. Maybe it's the alpha or something. I don't know. I was just like laughing about the discrepancy. You know, I wonder if they make fun of each other. It's like, yeah, look at look at this dude. I'm reminded often there are some processes that go on in our world that happen too slowly over too many years for us to really observe and take notice of. Yeah, it's true. It's entirely dependent upon the clarity of the lenses most of the time. Dusty glasses get blurry. Basically, I believe in the crucible of struggle and sacrifice. We cannot only discover who we truly are. We not only discover who we truly are, but we also forge the essence of what we can become. That I agree with, right? But again, if that sacrifice and struggle leads to your end, you don't become anything. You become dead, right? And that's where I draw the line, where I don't think of death as something dangerous. I don't think of death as something bad. I don't think of death as something to be feared, even. But if we came here to live, I think of not living as bad, right? Not dying, but not having lived. That is the true sin, maybe. I think that is technically the definition of sin, right? Missing the mark. Missing the mark, realizing that you're here to live, right? And if you don't do that, that is the sin. Not these conceptual sins we have convinced each other of, but actually not having lived, not having been yourself, not having been true to what it is you're here to do, not having been God, essentially, right? Being a part of the everything. From the perspective of a housefly, next week is the great beyond, literally. Sacrifice is necessary to be good, or evil ones give always. In the alchemy of love and kindness, even the forsaken moments become sacrifices that fuel the fire of creation, transforming absence into presence, loss into gain, and despair into hope. I love that. Thank you, Brother Brandon. Despair into hope. Part of me wants to read yesterday's poem to you, friends, with that in mind. This is yesterday's flower. Look at the shadow, or the reflection of the tree shining sun in the middle of the flower. Okay, that's yesterday's flower, and then the poem. The poem is called Beauty in the Eye of the Beholder. In the eye of the beholder, beauty's glow. Life's canvas, our creativity we bestow. Yet not all will see the art within, the beauty that's found in what we've given. We strive to be the most beautiful us, each stroke of life's brush, something we trust. But pause, my friend, and take a step back to see the wonder in what the mirror reflects. You are the artwork, a living statue divine. In every line and shade, your brilliance shines. Embrace your colors, your flaws, your grace. For in love, dear soul, your heart finds its place. Permission granted to be uniquely you. In your every moment, there's beauty too. As the artist and the canvas, you play your part in this masterpiece of life. You are the heart. So brush down your worries. Let love flood the canvas. You're a breathtaking artwork. You already know this. In the eye of the beholder, you'll surely see the beauty that is you as you were seen by me. Yeah, yeah. Right? Because it is you who sees. It's you who sees God, right? You're the one who gets to see. We see it every day in the beauty that we bestow. And if you don't, there is none. Right? It's a little bit of a brutal, gotcha. Gotta run, do that work thing. We love you, Kristen. Thank you for spending some moments with us. Have a good day at work, friend. My dear friends, every day you make my day. I love when we love together so much. Bye for now. We'll see you again soon, Shell. Sending you blessings. Again, hello, Ashley. Shell, have a wonderful day. I live vicariously through your food. So much love. The word forsaken always starts a loop of SOAD, chop suey. And so now my brain is in the loop of wake up, skip it, make up, skip it, skip up. Thank you. Thank you for brain damaging me too. Jovan, I'm so glad I haven't left yet. That song is so intensely catchy, 100%. It's like love doesn't count the cost, it pays the price. Knowing that sacrifice is the down payment on eternity. Yeah, like the thing that I'm resisting as well, I feel like that's you friends might have noticed this as well today in stream for me, is, like I resonate with Buddhist philosophy as well, but the Buddha's teaching is that life is suffering. And I also don't agree with that, right? Because I believe life is love. Sure, you can suffer, right? But your ability to suffer and endure it is a direct vector of love. That love is our ability to endure, right? So that is, I think it's like both are true. Yes, we will suffer, but we have so much love in this world, so much God in this world that we can endure said suffering, right? That I don't just kill myself right now because of the pain I feel, that there is still love to live for day by day by day by day. And that's where I'm finding some resistance in my own being against these teachings of like life is suffering, right? Sacrifice yourself for the greater good, and then it's gonna. Yes, but also balance, right? Maybe like that. I feel like there's in the teaching an extreme taken so that you can find perspective in your own interpretation thereof. And my interpretation thereof is that there should be more balance, right? Again, the dualistic nature of everything. Metalocalypse. The movie, have you seen it? Forsaken, take the souls that won't be forsaken. Forsaken, take the souls that won't be taken. Mushta, Kushki awakens the lake troll. So much freaking love. Ground Sparkle saying, isn't it amazing how the body processes pizza and turns it into energy and waste? Would you eat a pizza from the Cretaceous period? Like instantly my mind goes, Ground Sparkle, to seeing these primordial creatures running a pizza shop. And then I don't know, is it cannibalism if they put shrimp on my pizza? Right? Like that's the one fractal. I'm seeing like actual underwater creatures trying to cook me a soggy pizza. And then the other fractal is just eating all of those Cretaceous period creatures on a pizza. And my answer is yes. Right? They're extinct now. I'll never get to eat Cretaceous period pizza. Fuck. So yeah, I would actually. Pizza gets me high. I might Ground Sparkle. I mean, I didn't even consider that, right? You eat a pizza and suddenly you're on a psychedelic trip. I'll make a pizza from scratch today. Do it, Joe Schmo. Treat yourself. Metalocalypse just played a show here 2 days ago with Baby Metal, and I missed. I mean, some people didn't at least. It's the South Africa that brings us. It's the the pizza that brings us all together. Jovan, I missed the show. I would be binge watching the cartoon just because I'll be binge watching it now. I think I should watch it again. I feel it's like so brutal. Like it's like dark, right? Like gruesome, I think is the right word. But still, a love for people, like arises in me watching that show. Chunky burp. I wonder if they make fun of each other. TM, melt thoughts. I was like just thinking, right, like from the perspective of like health and stability, because that burp, in the case of there not being food, that bird's gonna be so fine, right? That bird's gonna be so okay, right? So it's like, yeah, you laugh. Oh, we'll see who's laughing when you starve to death. Like they're like brutal, like like straight up nature vibes with one another. Jovan, my baby ducks hatched yesterday. We haven't heard photos. Heard photos. We haven't seen any photos. Duck that sacrilege. Zero sum pizza game. Yes, yes, you read it. Perfect. 10 baby ducks, all of them hatched out, and all of them went into the great outdoors. I'm a happy hippie today, bless. This flower and poem is now on my fridge. Shan printed it out to make sure that it's now a part of the physical world. Oh, I like this poem, Melty. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for sharing your ears with me so I can share my poetry with you. Let me turn around the stream. We're like in the last hours of the sun setting. My mother is coming back again. Joe, a friend shared vids with me. They actually projected the cartoon at the background throughout the show. I live vicariously. There it is. I'm happy that you had a friend that actually went. I was like kind of like, tongue in cheek talking about other people being there. But the fact that you got to like see some videos at least is already a little bit more information, right? I love living lovingly alongside you, lovely, live lively lovers, as we love you. I have used so much ink printing that flower, Shan. I think it's small enough. I was thinking the same. The paper must be so wet when it started to rain. I literally took a screenshot and printed it out like that, Joy. God smiles at my efforts through monarchs by the dozen. It's like they're drunk on his love and falling through the wind on Haywire Hill today. Bro, like, can I just say this, Brother Brandon? Your eloquence and articulation in your words have been so beautiful, man. You're making me feel like I see God in every single one of the things you choose to say. Sending you blessings, bro. Jovan, we have a new gray cat that likes to eat rats and lives, you see the porch. Not super friendly yet, but I'm working on it. Lives under the porch. There we go. My battery was at 74 and it was posted 47 minutes ago when I took the screenshot. And I realized last night it was 3:42 at the same time, so at 34. And the answer to the universe, right? What is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? 42. Bye-bye, Mr. Sun. Thank you for sharing your presence with us. It's up to you, friends, now, right? I ain't got no sun left. You got sun. You get to see God illuminated by the closest principle we have to God, at least in our solar system. All right. Yow! Yo, Puppy is doing a zoomy. You doing zoomies? Zoom. Zoom, zoom. Are you zooming? Wow, wow, wow. Zoomy, zoomy. Oh, zoomy, zoomy, zoomy. Oh, zoom, zoom, zoom. Oh, zoomy, zoom, zoom. Zoom. Okay, relax. Yeah, I'm Dog Whisperer. I'm gonna give you some rub. I'm gonna give you some rub. No, please. Oh, please, you're eating my fingers. Let me pet you. There we go. Yeah, that's your sweetie, but sweetie. That's a sweetie, get sweet. You silly thingy. You silly bubbly. What are you seeing? Are you seeing something? Are you seeing something? You're eating me. Stop eating me, you silly bubbly. You silly thingy. Okay, enough. Thank you very much. You have something on your nose. I think you just licked it. Oh, that's rank, yo. Whatever was on her nose, it doesn't doesn't smell like poop at the very least, right? I would have been significantly more offended, but it's probably like some sort of bone gunk. It kind of smells like olives, weirdly enough. I think all of you friends probably know what olives smell like. It's not exactly a smell you want attached to your hand after playing with your dog. Oh, it's so gross, baby. It's so disgusting. You friends get to see the OCD of my hand cleanup session. Like, bro, I cannot handle. Yummy, yummy. Yeah, get yourself some water too. Okay. Then I can use my scarf. Yeah. multifunction. Today is going to be a great day, my friends. Open your eyes and open your hearts to the infinite miracle that are inevitably going to surround you. Smile at the world, it's smiling right back at you. Brother Joe Schmo is tuned into today's stream topic to the maximum. What would a fractal pizza look like, and how many tiny slices would there be? A fractal pizza would actually be uh, from the top view circular, and then if you had to flip it on its side, it would have pizza slices that keep stacking downwards. Right, so you have an infinity pizza that is a spiral of itself. That's what fractal pizza in my mind means, at least. My schmecksy screenshots don't make it past the filter that tells me I'm being too much, but I still consistently send you all lovelings all throughout the day. We will look forward to anything you'll be willing to send us, dear show. Josh Shacks, I won a trophy, the 1983 Eloquent Off down at the local bingo hall next door to the VFW. Mama took me. Like back in the day? Like a long time ago? That sounds like a whole trip, dude. Do you still have it? That's the thing I'm worried about or curious about. Do you still have your trophy? It would look like the pizza ground sparkle because it isn't a pizza slice. Already fractal of a whole, technically. Technically, right? I recently had to go through my stuff and delete this from my phone because the internal storage is full. So many syncy screenshots. I feel you, Joe. Completely resonating. Melty, thank you, brother. These moments are irreplaceable. How excited was Mama to have a big winner? Yellow and green. I see you're already thinking about the card. I was also thinking about it, so you're like perfectly in tune. Schmanky screenshots? Mama, I got none of those. All syncy. Exactly. It's like taking screenshots. Like it's 17:44. There's 11 friends watching right now, and my battery is at 66, right? So 4, 4, 11, well, 1, 1, 6, 6. So many sync or respiratories, right? That would be like a screenshot worthy moment. I have stopped doing it. Like I've unironically been, what's the word I'm looking for? Bruh. I have been, come on English. You know English, bro. You know English. Desensitized. That's the word. I don't think it's a good word. Maybe that's why I forgot it. Mildly desensitized, right? Not that that the synchronicity is any less significant. I still feel that sense of awe every single time I see a synchronicity. But now it's just normal. Now it's just like, oh yeah. Guess the universe is watching me again. Tell me something I don't know, universe. I know you're watching. How about you send me like high expectation? My stick broke. It's supposed to go in there, but it goes in there too loosely. So I usually shimmy something in there, and my shimmy shod. I'll put more shimmies. I'll put a shimmy on the left, and I'll put a shimmy on the right. Bruh. Don't you shimmy incorrectly, you shimmy. Bruh, my shimmies are falling over and creating a base, the bottom. That's not what I want. I'm not losing my mind. No, I'm sane. I am a sane human being that's totally not tripping himself out right now, being like, hey, bro, how about you fucking stop, bro? You have other things to do right now. Yeah, get shimmied. Look at that little sticky. Yeah. It's staying. It is staying. I don't think that's the most eloquent way to do it. But it's it's stuck now. Wrap the hell with tape. I did do that. I did do the tape. I did actually do that first, but the tape disintegrated, unfortunately, as well. You can see there's some tape wrapped around the actual, little stand pieces, but the tape got disintegrated because I'll sometimes turn it on its own axis. Like if I I try to position the light, for example. I'll turn it, and then I ruin the tape. It ain't stupid if it works. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Sam big braining alongside me. Happy Meals were awesome back in the day. Little boxes of cookies and toys and stuff. If you were good, you got to go into the pinball too. Yeah, but the ball pit too. Life was good. Them slides are. While you messing with Mel, Uncle Becky, you know he's a foreigner and don't understand your small town American jokes. Oh, that was a joke? Yeah, that I didn't even understand a little bit of that. I just wanted to like be hyped for Uncle Becky winning a trophy. Like none of that meant anything to me other than that. Right? It's just like, yeah, celebrate Uncle Becky for doing things. The rest of it was like, fuck, you didn't win now. Anyone else want to win it? Melty Reptile, love again. That's a sketchy shot. I'm surprised that Stickman hasn't come alive yet. I just realized the last three digits of our home number is a 47, 43. Nice. Got a 34 in there in reverse as well. And a 47 in reverse. It ain't stupid, it works. Yes, my apologies, Mel. You received an onslaught of American small town nuance. Sorry. I've been writing a bunch of songs lately. I've been seeing it, Brother Bear. Your way of communicating has been beautiful, man. Continue making, right? No effort is ever wasted, and all of that energy is going to be contributing to the stuff you'll make. More still. I love the amazingly short leaps stoners make to engineering level status when presented with literally any problem. It's like, yes, I am now instantly going to manipulate my space, actual reality, to make sure I solve this problem that I'm facing. Right? Could I do it better? Yes. Am I going to do it right now? Also, yes. Will I wait until I can do it better? No. It needs to be done right now. It's one of my better qualities. Love is true. Okay, send your mental energy and tell me to stop. Now? Okay. Card time. No, not this one. This one. I looked at the other one as well. I think the other one is also important. I'll tell you what the other one was. This was the other one. Emissaries of Love was the other one that came up, but we won't read this one. This is like a really important card to me, but the card we ended up pulling. What did Joe Schmo suggest? It's kind of like trippy the way that Joe Schmo does this. He said yellow and green. That's like literally yellow stars, yellow fishies, and then green turtles with a green background and some green looking water. How do you do that, Joe Schmo? You need to teach me your skills, bro. What's on the cards for you? Gentle Spirits. This is the Jovan card. Like, by the way, we were like tripping out about the synchronicities, and then we pulled the Jovan card, card number 34. We can fix it with stuff laying around the house. Anything can be worked to fix something if you work hard enough. I listen, that's true. Yes, you do. This is like when no one else eats the fortune cookie and I eat them all and read all the fortunes and take it way too much to heart. I do that too, right? I do take it to heart, but it's not like you're gonna win the lottery kind of cards or whatever. These are more like things you already know. Affirmation cards, if anything. Look at them, 5 gentle sea turtles. Some yellow fishies too. Got that energy. Say, isn't this card 34? It is. It's perfect. Card number 34. Simply being. Right? God is simply being everything at the same time. And you get to be smack dab in the middle of all of that. We find within this image the number 5 and the geometry of the pentagon. Within this 5-sided pentagon, polygon, it does say pentagon and then polygon. Within this 5-sided polygon, stars appear and speak to us of excellence, protection, and divine transcendence. I'm going to take that in for a moment. That's pretty today's topic, yo. The stars of this card are 5 green sea turtles. They glide gracefully through the pentagons, reminding us to be gentle with ourselves and to be present in the moment. With peaceful grace and presence in the now, these gentle spirits ask you to consider the importance of simply being. The pace of the modern world seems ever faster, demanding that we accelerate our capacity to accomplish more and more and more and more. Most people believe there is not enough time to get everything done, not enough time for ourselves. This card invites you to relax into this very moment, meditate, doodle, daydream, and simply be. Resist the urge to get up and do something or feel guilty because you are not. Give yourself permission to let your cares and woes fade from consciousness long enough that you may see into the moment and feel peace. Pause. The fact that one of your friends said pause, Mel. Pause! And in this pause, allow your body, mind, and spirit to deeply enjoy the excellence and of simply being. You may receive messages, and that is fine. But if you were lucky, you might be allowed to simply be. Yeah, that's some skibao. That's some skibao right there. Pause, be here, meow. Pause, be here, meow. I like that, Ashley. That's so clever. What's your pause? Affirmation action cards, turn to page 34. Happy harmonies that flow through this group. Love is true. I actually travel to SA so I can sit next to you 2 minutes in the future. Then I come back to pretend to be psychic or something like that. Perfect. Simply be, dear friends. If you can just allow yourself to simply be, right? That you don't have to seek, you don't have to run anywhere, you don't have to earn God's approval, God's love. All you have to do is simply be. Here you are, smack dab in the middle of it. What more can we wish for? I like to see Jovan also liking the jokes. Yeah, usually Jovan is the one of the super clever, witty lines. So you're fitting right in, Ashley. Bless. Bunny, farts, and feathers. I found a red book in a hotel drawer once and replaced it with air. The Red Book by Carl Jung. That's a steal. That's super nice. I replaced it with air. I don't know what that means. I think I know what it means, but I'm gonna pretend to not. What could it mean? Starts replacing everything with air. I didn't steal it. I'm just replacing it with air, right? There was this thing, and then I was like, wow, that thing is creating a void of air, and I need to, I need to do us all the justice. Okay, I'm gonna put down this fractal. We're gonna play some kalimba, and then we'll say goodbye for today. Let's see what today will bring. Okay. And just like that, we ski bopped. We wafty squapped. We skaboplopped. Skip up. Back to only one microphone. Affirmative action cards. Lavate los manos. Lavate los manos? I don't know what that means. I found a red book. Carl Poignant. That sounds like so similar to Carl Jung that it's almost eerie. Have high wire, pizza, pasta, tiramisu. Nani? Can y'all give me 3 words each? Inspiration to take to my music creations. Pizza, pasta, and tiramisu. It's gonna be a food-based song. For me, it will be transcendence, acceptance, and peace. Transcendence, acceptance, and peace. I feel like that could be a song for all of us. Live, laugh, love. That's, tried and true. Be here, meow. It could be a cat-based song. Meow, 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 meow. Go outside and grab a handful of dirt, play with it, eat it, smell it, rub it on your feet. He didn't say eat it, but I wanted to add eat it to it. Eat the handful of dirt that you scooped. Don't eat that, please. Lean into Gaia's gifts and embrace the blessings of this day. My friends, we are all just dirt. Star stuff. Sugar, salt, and aromat. You have aromat, ground sparkle? We have aromat here in South Africa as well. Good old monosodium glutamate. Does someone with more than 10 toes get dirtier feet than someone with 10 toes? I think it's more a surface area thing. So maybe, no, right? If you have less toes, it depends on how big your toes are proportionally to your feet. But if we're going to determine dirt on a surface area coverage for, maybe like a dirt amount, probably the person with more toes get more dirt in their feet because there's surface area between your toes as well. So yeah, more toes equals more dirt on feet. 10% more per toe. From the mire and clay we emerge, and to the earth we shall return. 11th toes and 10th. So dirt, love, living, laughter, salt, juxtaposed. What a good word. Aromat, harmony. 1/11th% dirtier. You math geeks. Susan, my brain's getting melted as well. Like what's happening? Transcendence, acceptance, and peace. Be dirty now. Transcendence, yeah. Transcendence is the one that I was saying as well. Got any short and sweet China tales? There's so many terrible ones. But you told the sweet one about meeting the grandma who's never seen a white man. That is one of my favorites. Do I have another good story? Yeah, I do. This one is pretty funny as well. It's kind of still yikes, but it's still kind of funny, right? Like kind of wholesome. There was this moment when I just got there, and I was like walking from the school back to my apartment, and there's like these little channels, where people can like put like little stalls next to the main road, and I'm like walking down one of these little channels, and I get like stopped like this by a lady, and she takes out her smartphone, and she takes this photo of me, and she looks at her camera phone or her photo, and she like I can see in her face like, nope, that ain't it, chief. And then I can see her swipe back and take another photo of me, and I can see her like being like, yeah, this is a good one. And then I, leaning into the joke, like in China, most of their finances is basically processed by WeChat. And you can literally take out your phone and open a QR code, and then someone can scan said QR code and pay you, right? And while she's taking this photo of me, I take out my phone and I open onto this QR code, jokingly telling her to pay me for the photos she just took. And like, I could see her feeling awkward about what she's doing, but her not caring enough to let the awkward stop her. And she could see I was feeling awkward. Like the first photo was probably like sheer confusion, like the fuck are you doing? What are you doing right now? And then me taking out the QR code, I could see her laughing with me. So yeah, that's like, there you go, short and sweet. Thank you, JV, for asking. I've never seen a white man. Yeah, I've also technically never seen a white man. Right? I'm like peach at most, maybe like pinkish. Okay, I got him. Thanks. Say howdy to the folks. Mama, and sister, uh, Uncle Becky, say hello. Here you go, bro. Okay, got them. I can think of a sweet one. Joy, isn't there one where the quiet kid would open up? That's also one of my favorites, right? There's one kid. Suddenly, I'm at a disconnection. This one kid, I've forgotten his name, Aaron or something like that. He was like unwilling to talk, say a single word, right? Because he could actually speak some English, but he was intimidated by me being, let's say I'm fluent. Let's pretend I'm a fluent English speaker. And he didn't want to say. And then like day after day, like I was just like trying to like give him my attention, give him my energy. And then by like the third day, he spoke better than anybody else in his class. And then I was blown away, you know. Part of me wanted to instantly start giving myself back pats, but I was not the reason he could speak English. He had just had a lot of practice. China tails, like a red panda. Pandas have short tails. That's a good one, Mel. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Joy, for asking for the good, for the God in these experiences, right? Have the most beautifulest day, everyone. I wholeheartedly love you all. So superest, duperest, hugely, mega, immensely, massively, enormously, Herculaneally, hulkingly, dearly, Melton, all of you, oh so very wonderfully, captivatingly, fabulously, incredibly, splendidly, stunningly, spectacularly, gorgeously, radiantly, ravishingly, glowingly, magically magical, divine, dear friends. As we love you, dear Shan. Thank you for sharing your lovings with us as well. This is one, everyone being here, and meow. You are also very loved and appreciated. Never made it as a wise man. I'm trying still. I'm trying hard. I so badly want to be a wise man, actually. But I keep realizing that I'm 25. Fuck. Oh, I can't be wise man because I'm 25 right now. And my brain man, yeah, checks out though. Guess you're gonna have to get old before you can be wise man. Couldn't cut it as poor man stealing. Couldn't cut it as poor. Are you friends resonating on a fractal right now? The fact that both of you said the same thing means that yes. Like I unfortunately do not share the fractal, but I'm happy that you friends are stoked. Sending you lovin's. Thank you again for joining me today. For consciously evolving alongside me. For finding yourself in these moments so that we can grow. Sharing brain. Nickelback fractals. Nickelback. Nice. Even better. Even better. We're singing Nickelback Eva. There's Eva. Yeah, Eva Kies. Yeah, Eva. We love you too. Brother Joshua. Thank you. I love you, friends, and I thank you for joining me again. I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you, dear friends. Seriously, like I'm in a loop of like gratitude, and then I'm like, you should make sure they know how grateful you are. And I'm like, I just said thank you, and it's like, yeah, say thank you again. Thank you. And it's like, yes, yeah, I'm grateful. And it's like, you should say thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Shanna, you bring a quiet and blindly beautiful warmth to this world. Yes. I'm so happy that I waited because there was a message in the typing from Brother Brandon that goes, love is an eternal flame in a shared lantern. It lights the way and warms the soul, but needs tending to withstand the winds of change. Yassi. If this group isn't a bunch of people that tends to that flame, I don't know what we do. Love you big and much and eternally into all of the infinities and beyond. Even beyond all of the infinities, right? Like taking this with us as a trip, again, seeing God in everything, any number, right? Like really take this in. Any number you can imagine. You can add as many zeros as you want. is closer to zero than it is to infinity. Yeah, let's take it. The insanity of infinity. And then realize you are that. Do not try to number yourself. You are so much more. I'll see you friends again soon. Pepe is doing a zoom zoom. Zoom zoom zoom. A zoom zoom. A zoom 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 zoom. Winds of change. Cue the whistle. Love you. Cheers.